Bob Travers, yeah.
And you just forward it on to-
Alright, you guys are left.
Oh, there we go.
One here. I left mine. I let it go by. Look, Ellen. I'm not running it yet.
Okay.
What's that? Oh, sorry.
Kellen, I guess you're
You
gonna.
wanna kick it off, and then they'll take over as soon as they get officers going.
Okay, so roll call, looks like we have Joe Fisher around.
No. He's on Zoom. Or supposed to be. He's gonna try to be.
Are you there,
I
Joe?
Have we got anybody on Zoom, Richard?
Nope.
Okay.
What do you got? Okay.
I think Kellen needs a mic.
Just go stand up there and turn
I guess first off, we should probably have everybody go around and introduce themselves. I'm Kellen Saskin. I'm the golf course director.
Casey Creighton, Assistant Superintendent for Chelan Park and Rec District.
Jim McMaster, board member, Chelan Park and Recreation District.
Jason Fields, board member, Chelan Parks and Rec.
Kat Ricker, Public Information Director.
And now we have our committee members.
Jeff Dillon, I'm controller at Austin Industries.
Bob Travers, I'm a resident here in Newburgh and a businessman.
I'm Roger Colvin, resident and retired.
Dennis Lewis, resident Newburgh.
And just so you know, Tom Sheridan will be on Zoom, as he said to me today.
Okay. So it looks like Kat, next step up is we have committee rules form to sign. Is that correct?
Right, you should each have an updated policy. The board made a small change at the last board meeting, so even if you signed it, please sign it again and,
Can
collect
can you
those.
tell us what the change was?
Yes, the change was in that first section where it says that the board needs to give approval for direction of volunteers, volunteer events, approval of volunteer events. They added or staff, so you'll see board or staff, so that you can get approval to move forward with volunteer events and initiatives as committees by working through staff, and don't necessarily have to go to the board for approval for each event.
So staff meeting Killen
Yeah, your staff
Or-
liaisons. So.
or the staff.
Are all four of you going to be liaisons?
I know that I will be and Jim will be.
As far as staff liaison.
Oh, as far as staff liaisons, that would include Dawn or Kellen
All plan on being here, yeah?
Casey?
and Casey.
Okay. And I'm not normally gonna be here, I wanted to get you guys started, but I'm always accessible for questions or email. You'll probably have a lot more email with me than anything, cause I collect all of your materials for public record, I post your meetings. If you cancel the meeting or reschedule and you need to leave me, let me know. And for public meeting rules, anything that you share as a committee, like these articles, just automatically send me a copy or keep them in your packet, and I'll get your packets and I'll make sure that they're all part of the record.
All right, so the purpose of this committee is to provide recommendations to the board of directors regarding the new construction of the clubhouse at the golf course. Next step up is we have to have an election of officers. We're looking for the chairman, the vice chairman, and secretary, and if there's any others, other positions that we want, that's an option. Is there anybody that would volunteer to be chairman of this committee?
I'd like to nominate Bob Travers
I'll second.
as chair.
Ask for the-
Vote.
What's that?
They just need a vote.
Or any comments or anything you want to comment on me?
Sounds good to me.
we just need 4, is that correct, Kat?
The
4 out of 6,
majority, so in this case,
There's
yes.
2 on Zoom.
You said no one's there.
Oh, no one's there.
No one's on Zoom.
No one's on Zoom.
Do we have their phone number, or we might touch them to make
We-
sure?
we-
they-
We have
Jason,
enough here.
You have Tom's, he said you and he can text or call.
Okay. See if I got them in my
But-
phone here.
We have a quorum.
You have a
Right,
quorum,
we have
so
a
you can do what you
quorum.
want.
Go ahead and do
You
it.
can take the vote right now for your
Yeah.
chairman nominated.
Me? Already? I take it over?
No, you as
Oh.
a committee, let's take your vote.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
Aye.
There we go. All right, Mr. Travers.
I'm up. All right. Well, I thank you very much for this opportunity to be part of this. Took a little bit longer than I thought, but it's great. Maybe we can get something done here. What we're all about, this committee I call it a steering committee, and what we're doing, what we're trying to do is get more knowledge and information to the board of directors to gather the decision-making process that they have to go through.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt? Everything you're saying should be recorded by your secretary, so you're moving ahead a little bit. You need to elect your vice and your secretary, and then your secretary should immediately begin taking minutes.
So the reason that we're starting this is to create a board, committee, and we are now going to find our secretary. What else?
Vice.
Vice.
Oh, you want a vice, okay.
It's
Well, I
always-
nominate Tom Sheridan, and he says he will take everything except a secretary position. So I nominate Tom Sheridan.
For vice chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, for vice chair, yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. Any comments? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Stupid phone,
Sorry,
sorry.
we got Joe Fisher trying to hop on, so I'm gonna give him a call real quick and see.
Great,
He said it's not working.
okay.
Maybe I
I'll
should
forward
call
it to you.
Tom.
Okay. And then now secretary. Oh, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are we moving
Yes.
forward? All right.
Yes.
All right. Any nominees? Any volunteers? As a secretary,
I have no experience as secretary, but
you just take notes.
okay.
You be taking notes?
I'm happy to do that.
All right.
I
And
second that.
is it
Jeff Dillon.
Jeff Dillon has been nominated, and the second. And no need to comment, I don't believe, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you are our secretary. Would you be so kind as to take notes?
I can formalize these.
All right. So, Kat, what, anything else on the agenda that you need to start this?
I would love to just collect your signed policies before you proceed, and then you're good to go. Just make sure you make note of your roll call.
There's another mistake, I believe. We keep seeing 3 years and 2 years. It says 2 years here,
Yeah.
and then there's ones that we've been getting that says 3 years. So what was the correct years of being on the committee?
Okay, that is 3 years.
Okay.
So this needs to be changed?
Yeah.
So that was,
Can we change it to 3 and initial it?
yeah, let me double check though with Matt Smith, because we had an email on that.
I'll do that.
Let me look at
I'll
my
do it
emails
anyway.
right there and
Yeah, I
confirm
think all the
that.
emails were 3 years, and then this document was.
I think that you're absolutely correct. It's 3 years.
Okay, so we'll do that, but there is another position that is open here, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Kat?
We're still taking applications until August 16th, and we have received 2.
You have received 2?
Yes.
2 new ones?
Yes.
Very good. All right. don't think there's any other positions of the committee.
Oh,
You're in
Unless you can-
charge now.
Unless you can think of anything. All right. Now, like I said, this is the committee to start the process of finding the proper architectural firm, what it's going to cost, the expenses involved in building the new clubhouse. I do have some objectives here that I would like to clarify from the board, just real quickly for tonight, and then we'll be done. And
Oh, it is
after
tonight.
we start our,
Is it two?
yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was 2.
yeah,
it is 2 now?
yeah. Sorry for that confusion.
What happened?
It's just a 2-year term.
Yeah, it just, we had.
As-
a-
as-
I knew
as
Matt
printed.
and I had.
Okay, so as printed.
Yeah.
Yeah, change it to 2 years. Thank you.
Can I go further, continue?
Yes, thank you so
All right.
much.
So the objectives that we need to be clarified here is written down on our sub-agenda for our meeting, the beginning, first inaugural meeting for tonight. The first one is to seek and obtain the director's approval to allow the implementation of various construction phases for both the clubhouse and the additional 9 holes. And if possible, seek any method where this new clubhouse would be phased as well. Phased meaning broken down, build one phase of it first, then move on to the second phase after it's built.
I have a question. Don't we need to make sure there's community support for this effort before we get down that deep into the details? I mean, I've talked to some of our neighbors. Some of them are in favor of a new clubhouse, but questionable. They don't want to pay any more taxes. They don't want to burden the Park and Rec District with future debt that they may have to absorb somehow. So I think it's kind of, I know that you had done a petition and found there were 300 plus people that signed the petition of interest in it, but
Small amount, but yes,
Yeah.
yes. I don't know all of that. I'm not part of the staff or of the CPRD board, so they're gonna have to answer that. All I know is that we're gathering information and passing it on to the board of directors so they can make the decisions on whether they can go forward or not. If they have to put it to the people, so be it. That's their part of it. Our part is strictly to gather information. Okay? Does that answer your question? Or I can't do anything that I don't think. We can ask one of the board of directors.
Well, really, I'm thinking about what we're doing here, and I'm just trying to figure out how are you guys going to determine what we need. I know what I would like as a board of director. I know what I would like. I don't know that that's what everybody else is going to want, but I'll tell you what I want, just so you guys know. I would like to see us build a clubhouse that, of course, has got a nice restaurant. I'd like it to have a ballroom so that if your daughter wants to get married, there's a place for that to happen. Or if, for instance, a company decides to come here and have an outing all day playing golf, afterwards they'll have a spot in which they can, celebrate their games and what they just did at work the last year. I want to make sure that we've got a store in which we can sell merchandise. And I think that if we're gonna go, we gotta go big, personally. I think it needs to be a destination spot. And what I would really love to see, And I don't think anybody's looked into this, but what I would love to personally see is, I'd love to see us partner with somebody like the Allison. And I'm just talking for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I would love to see us partner with somebody like the Allison. Maybe they've got the Allison at the Greens, where they build exactly what they think that they need to have. And we get the benefit of having them build it, having them run it, and having them pay for it. And we give them some kind of great long lease. I mean, this is just, I'm just talking out loud.
Thank you. You're mentioning things that you discussed in the past. Did you by any chance?
Sorry, I've got Joe. I'm just putting him on speaker because he can't get the Zoom link.
Oh, sure.
You there, Joe?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
So, did you bring those renditions?
I did, yeah.
Awesome. If you could set them up somewhere, that would be great.
I have a comment though.
Yeah.
From a board member. You know, I am not against, improving the clubhouse in some way. But again, we answer to the taxpayers as a board. And like any business, which basically this would be a business, we would have to look at the financial viability of this business. And I don't think that's been discussed. You know, the taxpayers are gonna come back and say, why are you building this? You know, or you're gonna take out a loan, why are you doing that? Because we have to pay it back possibly. We would have to have a strong financial basis for doing a ballroom or a cafe or whatever you're gonna do. And I don't know what that's gonna be, but I think that that's important, because I'd hate to see it go the other way where the taxpayers come back and say, well, wait a second. We'd like this park over here, and now you're building this golf course for who? So I think we really gotta dig into the weeds, this committee, before we start even mentioning, some of the things that you have here. I think that that's important from any business standpoint, that we look at that. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not against anything. I just want to make sure that it's going to work. When we did the aquatic center, we did a lot of homework and research for that to get built. And I told the taxpayers, I said, I will be surprised if this pays for itself. Because usually swimming pools are like basically a white elephant. Well, we're luckily now it pays for itself. Whether it continues to do that, depending on maintenance or future utility costs, remains to be seen. Right now, we're good. But I'd want to see that same thing done with this golf course before we start talking about some of these other things, because I think that's important for the taxpayers to hear and understand.
Thank you, Jim.
I'm gonna make a comment. That's considered a feasibility study, and they will ask questions of population, and they will determine numbers, and that's a very specialized thing for a golf course.
What I gather is this information is valuable. But what I gather is that you're asking something that we cannot provide you. The feasibility study will have to come from the board of CPRD itself. We don't do feasibility studies.
No, I get
All
that,
we're
but-
doing is gathering information for you to make a decision. You make all the decisions, we don't. Does that make sense?
Right, I just want to make sure that you're not spinning your wheels and getting upset when that feasibility possibly comes back and says, hey, it ain't gonna work.
Well, I was expecting this to happen.
Well, I'm not being negative, I'm just trying to look at all
Let me
the,
just point out, when we started promoting or marketing this, or not marketing, but promoting this steering committee, it was about gathering information for you guys. If we keep hearing, well, we need this and we need that and we this, that should have been known to us ahead of time before we started the steering committee. So, yes, we do have a better understanding now that we started the process. Like this information I found on the internet, and I thought it was a valuable information for us to go forward and to see what we have to do in order to get this thing accomplished. Make sense? I hope. Any other comments from anybody here? No?
I'd like to, again, with my background, engineering background, I like to get into, first thing to do is establish what's the objective, what do we want to accomplish? Make that very clear, very concise. And so that we don't wander off on a tangent somewhere, that we spend a lot of time and effort on something that's not relevant to what our mission is. So I think it's very important, the first thing we do is establish that mission. And then take a look at, what are the steps that need to be done for that mission. And make sure that, it's clear and concise again, and there's specific roles that need to be done and that kind of stuff. So I think that's the most important thing. And discussions like we're talking about right now are part of that establishment of the commission, the mission.
Okay, and what we're talking about here, what I'm talking about, or what Jim
I think
is
all of us are talking about making sure that, again, we've got a clear understanding of what they're expecting from us, what the mission is for this
Sure.
committee.
And that leads to a great point. What is it that you expect from us? I mean, you said the feasibility study, and I don't think we're able to provide that for you. The description of the clubhouse, that's all written down here as far as number 2 on the first objectives. Those are the things that we are already aware of as far as a committee or individuals, as far as what it's going to take to get this thing accomplished. I have no idea if it can even happen. All I know is that you needed information, and we volunteered to give you that information.
May I suggest that what we're embarking on is not new in the aspect of potentially doing a public-private relationship. We've done that with the Cultural Center. I tend to think our project and our overview would be to put together an RFP that we can go out to have potentially those that might own an establishment that could run and build this project. What I would hope we could do is maybe do some field trips to different clubhouses and different golf courses that are doing this, get our concepts and ideas down to what we really want, so that we can describe that in an RFP, so that we can get this going. I love your idea of having a private entity come in and help manage and build this with us. It's not unheard of that we could raise funds to be a part of of this whole project too, as a community. Cultural centers have, how many millions of dollars are in it right now? Something like 15 or 16, 17 million dollars total that the public, that have been put into that without a tax dollar going towards it. I would love to see this be tax-free at the end of the day. I think it's a responsible conversation that we should have.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with Dennis. I think there's a lot of history and information that staff has already. And this is not as you said, not a new concept. I know I've had discussions with Don over the years about it. He has lots of ideas and concepts and, what the needs are. And Kellen and Casey know kind of what what do the golfers want? What are the, so we can get kind of that perspective of what they see should be put into this design. And then we can look at outside resources of what, if somebody were to come in, if Allison were to come in, what would they like to see? So it's more of a building process, not just, boom, we're gonna hire an architect and do this right away. There's lots of questions and lots of research that needs to be done to find out, making sure there's community support for this, as mentioned, that we don't have a facility that we're not gonna, is not feasible.
Tom, you there?
Hey, Bob, how's it going?
Good. I'm going to put you on mute. Did you need some sound?
No, I can't get onto the Zoom, so I have no idea what's going on.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it open right now if you just want to listen.
Yeah, I'll just...
All right. We'll leave it on right now. I'll turn that off. Okay, what,
Can I ask, as somebody that's a little bit newer to the community and, you know, an avid golfer, but I came from Bandon Dunes actually, so been a part of some of their committees with capital projects and things around the resort. How long has this been in discussion, I guess?
maybe 2 years, 3 years?
2 years?
Longer than that. I know, I was on our neighborhood association 5 or 6 years, ago, Greens Neighborhood Association, and had discussions with Don. And it was discussions at that point that there's been a progression on this golf course. The first pot of money was assembled to build like the first 9 and minimal type infrastructure. Second 9 was built, and then the idea was when those funds get paid off, that maybe a next phase would include a clubhouse and a third 9 and that kind of stuff. And again, that was discussions I had with Don years ago. So I know that there's been this idea and a concept of something to happen in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. We also had a meeting with Don a couple months ago, and we described what we would like to do with this process. And he was all for it, I gathered. That's what it seemed like. He was willing to allow us to go forward with this. And so that's why we're here, because he approved it, basically. And so this small amount of information, and we have a short time, I don't want to take too much time away from the conversations we're having, but I do want to get through the list that I have. Okay? Because I think it'll clarify a few things. For example, what to expect from our architect firm. I found some information, valuable information on that, and what just you have explained here, or tried to explain, is exactly what the process that you were going to go through as a committee in finding the correct firm to work with. It might be Michael Bond's old old company that he's worked with, but maybe the new one, who knows? But it's going to go RFP, which is request for proposal. And how many do we have to have a minimum of? Does anybody? Staff? 3?
For architectural,
Yes.
I'm not sure it's.
To hire them.
You have to have at least 2, for sure.
All right. So that's good to know. So if you're able to read that and see if there's anything missing or something later on, the next meeting that we have, then we can discuss that. But that's information that it's been passed on, and hopefully we can start our meetings and try to get a little more definition of what is needed here. I'm new at a committee. If you're not, you should have been the chair.
No, I am as well.
Anyway,
Would it be unreasonable to go back to my thought about doing some field trips to different structures and so forth? We find things that really suit our purpose and our need. We can find out who the architect was of those, and perhaps we can mitigate a lot of cost by utilizing some of the already produced projects.
yeah, I am so into that. I love seeing clubhouses. I've seen a bunch of them already, and some of them are absolutely beautiful, the clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then some are just, they're okay.
Does staff have any, I know, Jim, we had a discussion after the last board meeting that you had mentioned or seen something about a clubhouse being built in Idaho. That might be something to look at.
Yeah, the Park and Recreation Department for Boise, Idaho, built a clubhouse, I think it was back in like 1974, similar to what we have now. And I'm trying to remember the name of it, but anyway, they had a donation of $3 million to kickstart that, private funding. And I think it's $9 million to finish the project. I'm not sure what all the project's in, I'm sure it's online. But they also have a large biking community, because they have the Boise Greenway that goes all the way through town, along the river, comes up through the golf course, so they're pulling in those folks too, as well as the golfing folks. So yeah, it's one that's in the works right now. They probably have stuff online. Oh, Warm Springs Golf Course, if you wanna Google that and find out.
Warm Springs?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But one of my best friends lives in Boise, so I stopped by there and saw that they were doing that. So it's similar to what we're doing, or you're looking to do here. I'm not sure it's on the same scale, but I think, as I recall, it was $9 million to do the project. But I mean, again, you'd have to look at the scale and what they're doing.
Yeah, is there any contact that we might be able to talk to about the process?
I would think that if you call Boise Park and Rec, or I could talk to my buddy and see if he could figure it out, find out who it might be, and I can get back to you on that.
Sure.
Okay.
I wonder if it might be advantageous for us to have a meeting set up for the public to come and talk about what is important to them. What would they like to see? If sky's the limit, what would they like to see? So we can kind
Sure.
of get ideas from the public, whether it be from people that live here at the Greens, whether it be people that use our courses, or whether it just be a taxpayer that might like to have a facility.
I have a question for Kellen. Who are the users of the golf course? Are they strictly Newburgh residents? Are they?
No. I would say close to 50-50 resident versus non-resident use of the golf course. We get tourists, but we get a lot of people from the Portland area, Vancouver even. We have people come down from Vancouver that play. McMinnville, Salem. Yeah. So.
And there seems to be a number of tournaments that go on during the summer months.
Mhm.
I assume that would be an audience of input for
Yeah.
Clubhouse area. And what's the projection for needs for facility? I mean, is golfing, the number of people participating increasing, or is it decreasing, or?
It's
what's the
held
projection?
steady since COVID. Our rounds went up about 35% after COVID, and we've pretty much held steady with those numbers since then. Yes.
And do you expect that will continue in the future?
Based on how many young people are using our golf course these days, I do. A slight decline could be in the works, but it's still booming.
And one of the things that we've talked about, the committee's focus on the clubhouse, but then there's also this discussion about a potential third nine, which would have an impact on the design of a clubhouse. And so
I believe, I'll just tell you, I believe that if we were gonna build a clubhouse, the third nine would be part of it. I'm absolutely certain of that. When we spoke with Don, that's what he thought was the best decision, and I absolutely agree. And the other thing is when we talk about how many people are using this golf course, and is it going down, is it going up? If you build it, they will come, all right? If you make changes and improvements, they will come.
I'll put on my tourism hat. And I gotta tell you that the biggest dilemma we have in our community is when tourists contact or go into the hotel or go into any of our housing, hospitality spaces. First question is, what do you have? Where can we go? What can we do? And I believe this is part of that whole hospitality vision that we need to look at, not just about who in our community is going to use it. I think it's a much broader question than that.
Agreed. Yeah.
So when you talk about a project, the clubhouse and the third nine, and if we looked at financing or something, would phasing be an option for example, that maybe you build Clubhouse first, or you build the third nine first, or, you know, is there, or does it have to all, in your thought, in your mind, all come together at one time?
Well, I can't answer that. I don't know how long it actually takes to build the third nine. I don't know what the timing is.
What did
of
he
that.
say, 2 years? Year and a half to 2 years?
We built the first 9, yeah. Once you get the permitting done, it's about, started in June and we're seated by 15th of October and we opened the following June.
And that was when you started the process, or building
Front 9, yeah.
front nine, yeah.
Yep. But there's some land use too.
Now, you're talking about, now, we were told by Dawn that all of the property in the third nine is already,
Platted.
yes. Is that correct?
It's not in the city though.
Oh, it's in the
It's
county?
in the county.
In which county?
Yamhill.
Yeah, no.
Okay, good. Okay, that's up to you guys. Whatever you have to do to get this back 9 done, you're gonna do it, or Don, or whoever is here.
Yep.
Or we're just not gonna do the whole, at all, I guess, that bottom line. But I don't see that. That's why we're asking can we go into phases? So build the first thing first and then go to the second one. And it might be a year later, or 2 years later to get to the second one. Is that feasible?
I think anything is possible, okay? Everything would also, it would be determined also if we actually had somebody that wanted to build build a new clubhouse, manage the clubhouse. I mean, that's what I would like to have happen.
Same here.
And if they did do that, guess what? It's not on the taxpayer. So now we have the ability to do the third nine while this is all going on at the same time.
So Don also said that we're going, after 2 years, we're going to have possession, more collateral, if you will, to go back to the banks and do the either loans or bonds that are equal to what they're already paying for those 2 loans. That's what he said.
Yes, the front 9 is paid off this year, and the back 9 would be paid off next year.
Yeah. So that money can go back to, without any cost incurred by the people, the
Taxpayer.
taxpayers. Correct. So, again, I don't know all of that stuff, but everybody has seen these pictures, right?
No, I've not seen them.
No, you haven't?
No.
Yeah. These are the renditions of how many years ago, Kellen?
2. It's 2 years
No,
ago.
I think, was it 2 years ago
It's
that
2
this
years
was?
ago, yeah.
So when I started on the first advisory committee, you had these. So I'm gonna pass those up. And here's what I was looking for. I'm gonna continue on with the objectives, if you don't mind. And we'll get this out of here, get this done. We're not gonna talk about the size or the range of sizes that we have, because that we're not there yet, but I just wanted to point that out. I want to explore the possibility of accommodating the golf carts where they are now, remaining there, and utilizing that facility for the storage of the carts. Kellen, is that a possibility? Is that structure there
possibility,
strong
absolutely.
enough to deal with maybe a longer term than what you anticipated?
It's a possibility for sure. Does it create a mess trying to get carts every day? Absolutely.
It's going to be a mess, is that what you just said?
Well,
It'd
your
take
average-
two
your-
employees to open it, so
yeah,
I want.
yeah. We have one employee that opens and they can pull carts quickly. They have to walk across the road, 300 yards, 200 yards. Nobody's in the shop for 3 minutes while they're grabbing a cart. It wouldn't work.
if we had the first as it is, couldn't they just walk across the street and get the carts? I don't know how many times we go.
So your objective is to change what's there to put it into the clubhouse, the carts?
Well, if you look at those pictures, you see the carts storage is in the bottom.
Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just leave the facility as built already? Is that, Colin, is that a reasonable expectation?
Where they are currently, it's very easy for our staff to pull carts.
Right.
If they have to walk across the road from where the clubhouse is planned on being to get carts,
Yeah.
that's not a one-person job anymore.
Yeah, I would suggest you leave that alone. My thought when looking at these plans are that they're totally inadequate for what you're even doing today, because how many tournaments do you have during the course of a 6-month period?
Large tournaments were like 12 to 15 range.
So how many more would you have if you had a better facility for them?
Double. Yeah, I would
That's
say
my
probably
point.
double that.
That
especially
doesn't even talk to your need for a tournament facility, for all of the meals and the things that are going on to make a tournament work. And so to me, I would rather spend that money making sure that that facility was large enough to do a good banquet facility portion for tournaments and so forth, and leave your operation maybe across the street, which wouldn't be a problem, would it?
leave the
Leave the carts as.
Leave the carts
carts or
as
the
they are
pro shop.
in the pro shop, and then your other facility is really kind of a separate entity, so to speak. It kind of goes to that maybe public-private conversation that we're having. You could utilize that if someone comes in and really wants to make a living at it and project something really beautiful, they could do that. You're still autonomous to it, as I see it, and yet we gain what we want to gain, right? We want to gain that beautiful facility to take care of the community.
I haven't heard anybody mentioning the pro shop staying where we are at.
We haven't.
That's the first I've heard of it now.
That's just my thinking, that's all.
Yeah.
Dennis, I thought it was a good idea that you had, though, to visit these other locations and see what works and doesn't work. I think that would be great.
We gained a tremendous amount of insight into how to build the cultural center from doing that. We traveled extensively to make sure that we were building this adequate to what we're doing. And you ask the question, why did you do it this way? What would you have done different if you'd have thought it through? And so those kind of questions need to be answered, I believe. And I for one, would enjoy maybe going around and doing some of those things and having a good look at what's really out there.
Okay, well, there's two of us. Would you like to go?
Oh, sure, right, yeah, I think that's a great idea,
Yeah.
to learn from others' experience, and again, the kind of things, what's
Yeah.
working well and what's not working. And what
Yeah,
we
so,
can do
because
differently.
we're not competitors to them. What I found when we were doing our research for the cultural center, they were excited about the fact that we were doing something over in our area. And I think that anybody worth their salt is going to want to promote the industry as an industry. And so going out to talk with others and get their feedback, I think is priceless.
And it kind of feeds back to what Jason was saying, what does the community want? We look at what facilities are available, how they work that in, and what do we want here, based upon research we found from others too.
We can go beyond the clubhouse and beyond the third nine. We can add pickleball courts. I think there's enough space there that we can find it to build these things, to utilize that big, beautiful clubhouse building and support it. We can certainly find things like that. Plus, it certainly would be a destination point then at that point. Okay. Any others?
Just back to the basic question is, what is our mission? Can we really
We don't
define?
we don't have a mission yet.
Okay.
We have to get together and coordinate, collaborate with the board, maybe just the liaisons, and come up with something. But the mission statement, I would assume you are expecting a mission statement from us? And that has to be defined on what you want from our committee as far as a mission statement. That's never been defined. If you want it, we can certainly try to do it, and we would have to know what that parameter is.
I would think we could give them a straw man. You know, we as a committee would say, this is what we think our mission is. Do you agree?
Yeah.
What does it take for us to have an event where we can have input from the public?
So that we'd call that a neighborhood meeting, and committee can just work with staff and we can set that up. Doesn't have to go to the board. Yeah, we can just kind of determine. Now, you might want to wait until you get your next couple members to figure out things like the date so that they can be fully engaged. But yeah, you can just work directly with staff to get it kicked off here, and I'll do a lot of work on that, on non-committee time, to help figure out the time and the place and get it advertised.
I think it needs to be more than a neighborhood meeting, because this is a regional facility.
Yeah,
So it needs to be community-wide.
probably the cultural
Right,
center.
just semantics. I said neighborhood meeting, thinking as opposed to a formal public meetings that's required. So yes, we can certainly call it a community meeting.
Yeah, because I know when we build, if we build the clubhouse, then we'll have, we have to tell the neighbors within 500 feet of the facility.
Yeah.
That's different than
Yeah,
what
good
we're
point.
talking about here.
This is Joe, he wants to chime in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just along, having like a neighborhood
Can you put it back in?
meeting or a neighborhood meeting.
Hang on, Joe. Joe, hang on. Trying to turn up this thing on.
Better turn it on speaker.
Yeah, you got me now?
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, along with like a neighborhood meeting, I mean, I don't know how in depth we would want to get, but if we have like, however many community members are in our email database, whether that's like the Chehalem Park or even just like the golf course email database, and reaching out that way and reaching golfers and people in the community like, hey, what are some suggestions? What are things you're looking for? We could even maybe see something in an email where it's like, check these boxes if this is what's important to you, rank these choices, just to get a little bit more. That way, if people aren't able to go to the meeting, we can at least get as much information as possible and see kind of what the what the majority of people are feeling that they would want to have incorporated, or what the golfers would like to see added. Yeah, I don't know, just from a sense of like, if people aren't able to make that meeting or come through in the neighborhood itself. But again, that's again, like, tapping into the emails and the databases, we can get a lot of information that way. And that might be a way to just do a outreach, blast to, hundreds of people, where then they can give us feedback without having to directly come to a meeting.
Okay. So I started that protest, and I have 356 emails, so I can certainly provide those as well.
Yeah, and that,
Good idea.
don't want it to be like, paralysis by analysis, right? If we get like 500, 600 different emails from people, that's where it's like, all right, do we really want to take into account everybody's opinion? Whereas maybe there's some sort of form fill where people can, choose a certain amount of options that they would like to see. And again, maybe just have some way where they can have some involvement and some input without having to, sift through hundreds of emails and read, paragraphs of what people have to share. Like, maybe just have, I see in like the objective meeting that we have, or the objective agenda, that, it's like pro shop, locker rooms, restaurant, lounge, ballroom, like, what is most important to you, out of all of these. Again, just something so that way we can get an idea. Because also there's a lot of people that in the neighborhood are walking around. We have the walking trails around there too. So like it being more of a community place as well. Like maybe there's some people that want to have somewhere where it's like they are able to have a restaurant, somewhere where they can go after going on their walk, or having people from the neighborhood go to. So.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, I believe.
Yeah, all good ideas.
Yes, very good ideas. Thank you very much, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would it be beneficial for the committee to hear from staff of what, we've heard bits and pieces of it, but if staff were to present, here's what the history, what we've done, or where, some of the ideas that we've come up with, some things that we've thought about to, get to where we are today.
Well, just so you know, we are not part of the staff.
No.
We've been told that all the information is going to the board of directors.
Correct, but I was just suggesting maybe we get a presentation from staff of what has been thought about, or what's kind of the process that they've been. So I know at one of the meetings, the last meeting or two, board directed Dawn to come up with a business plan for this by the end of the year, I think it was, wasn't it? Isn't that what the board
Mhm.
had suggested?
It
So
I
they can-
remember hearing that, but I'm not part of
Yeah,
the staff or
as-
board.
Yeah, as far as what we've said about the clubhouse, I mean, we met with the architect and talked about it, and that's as far as I've been a part of in the almost 7 years I've been here.
It'd be interesting to hear what that conversation that went on, or what came out of that meeting.
Hmm.
That's what I'm looking for, is just what has staff done
Yep.
up to date? I'd like to see that part of the agenda for the next meeting, if possible.
Is that something you guys can do, or can you just tell them right now, what have we done? Besides talk about it?
Probably have to go back, it's
Cover the
been
agenda.
over years, so. I wasn't really involved with the architect so much, that was the goal.
I know
Yeah.
Don's been involved in a lot of stuff, just discussions I've had with him over the years. There's
Just-
a lot of things, history there that
Oh, yeah.
would be, I think, of interest to the board to hear.
Sure.
We'll have Dawn come to the next meeting.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the other one I wanted to talk about is the, this is a two-sided thing. Number one, the possibility, give it back to you guys, possibility of naming the new clubhouse Don Clemens Clubhouse. The other thing is making a wall of appreciation where people can buy plaques, donate their donations, go to a large plaque, small plaque, medium plaque, like we did at the hospitals and the other things that we've done here around town. And we could start collecting that. So those are the two factors that I would like to ask a motion for you guys to at least ponder the possibility. I don't think it needs to be a motion, but just discuss it with all of you guys, including the staff if they want. But I think it would be a good thing for the community. It would be a good thing for Don, especially for the 40 years that he's been working this. Just like Jim McMasters has his name up on part of that pool, I would like to see Don Clemens' name on something. And I asked him if that would be a problem for him, and he said, well, I'd prefer to have a wall of appreciation. And I would prefer to have me giving the appreciation to the community. That's what he said. That was kind of cute, but, all right. Yeah, we need clarification if we can phase these, the two things at least, the clubhouse and the golf course, or the back nine. So, when you have your meeting, when is that? Your board meeting?
Not for another month.
Another month. We can wait, I don't care, but it would be nice to know if we can do that.
Can you have that as a
Well, I
question?
don't, you know, I'm looking at it though,
That's exactly was the question.
The question is, I think the question is, can we build just the clubhouse and the 9 as 2 separate projects?
Okay.
Financial project.
I'm quite certain that we can. I don't even know that we have to ask the question, because I'm quite certain that we can. I just know that as we talked about it amongst the board, I know that I believe the consensus was if we were going to do one, we would probably need to do the other.
See, but I'm looking at the finances.
Right.
I already did some rough calculations as far as square footage of a size, reasonable sized clubhouse, and my figures came out to be almost $5 million.
Well, I think what we need to do is we need to try to find out if we can find a partner to do this with.
No,
So
I
that-
understand that, but what I'm trying to point out is that it's almost the same between $3 and $5 million, depending on what you do, for a 9 hole to do that as well, with all the irrigation and, moving of land. It's unbelievable how much it's cost now.
you know, I'm gonna ask the question if that's okay. I mean, my understanding in past meetings was that if we were to even go this route, we would have to have that next 9 to make it financially viable. Is that true?
Don made the comment about that, yes. If you build a clubhouse, you're taking away over $200,000 in revenue that we currently make.
I'm sorry, what?
Why would you,
Yeah.
why?
The food and beverage concession that we wouldn't make anymore if there was a clubhouse.
If somebody else were to run the clubhouse?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That's all contractual, I believe.
Wouldn't you get a percentage back? or
Yeah, you
something
would
from
get
them?
something back, I wouldn't, that's way beyond, I mean, we
Yeah.
can talk about that. You can have your own concessions if you will, I mean, you don't have to take those away.
Yeah, if we can keep our liquor liability license.
If you have it, you own it. And so whoever comes in as a private entity, they'll have theirs. They're not gonna use yours anyway, so.
Yeah, I just don't know if you can have 2 on the same property. That's
Two
not
different
something I've looked
properties.
into. So,
I believe there's 2 different parcels there.
That's why I think it's important to have a discussion with staff, what has been talked about in the past?
Yeah.
What are some of the obstacles, what are some of the advantages, what are some of the, if you do this, you gotta do this kind of thing. We don't know that stuff, and I think staff has been through a lot of that. It would be good information for us to have as we go down that process. Can I suggest we put together kind of an agenda for the next meeting and then pick a date?
Sure.
As a suggestion on the agenda, but I'd like to again see this staff presentation on the history of the clubhouse and the third 9. What has been discussed in the past as one of the items. And that we also then focus on what is our mission, so that we come up with a clear mission statement. It's 2 of the agenda items.
I'm open for it, and if you guys are available, then we would love to get together and sit down and chat with you about whatever we need to know more.
okay.
The other thing, now, so you won't meet again until August?
Yes,
August.
the board doesn't get together at all in the month of July.
So,
Be the 4th Thursday of August.
so that's when the 7th member
That's when our board meets.
committee would be selected.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, sworn in.
yes, that is correct.
Did we miss a swearing in, by the way?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
We'll be swearing at you soon.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't occur till sometime late August, should should we have a meeting before then as the committee? Or do we wait till after we get the seventh member of the committee? It's a question for the committee.
That is up to you guys.
Yeah.
As long as we have a quorum, we're okay. And we do, we have 5 people right now. No, 6.
6.
6 people, yeah. So, that's, they're gonna do their magic and find another person for the committee. Why? Because we need odd numbers
Yes.
on committees.
So then, there's no reason to delay a next meeting for the committee?
Well, that's a good question. No, we can meet anytime. We can meet anytime now. This is a good question, because we were confused at the last advisory committee. We can privately meet as a committee and not be a public opening.
That's incorrect. You are subject to public meeting laws.
So every place that we have a meeting, we have to have how do we do a Zoom or?
So your meetings would be located here unless we make some explicit exception. And we provide the staff support for the online remote access.
So with that said, Kat, if they want to take a van trip
Right.
together they're not like our board to a point.
Mhm.
If they take a van trip together, I think that's permissible,
Yeah, that would, yeah.
okay? I mean, I'm sorry, the laws have jumped from back when I used to be here to now,
Just
360.
You
So-
would just not be making any decisions.
Oh,
You
that's
would not
it.
be holding a
We
formal
would,
meeting.
we would just do committee meetings, right? So a committee meeting, not necessarily
That's what
a
I'm talking.
decision-making committee, a fact-finding.
You wanna call it something else, we can certainly call it. It's not gonna be a committee meeting. Is that what legally?
No
we're-
policy nor decisions are made at these meetings. Is that correct? Does that help with that conversation? Yeah.
So I'm hearing 2 different things. I'm hearing meetings and I'm hearing like a field trip.
Oh, that's-
Right, so are you thinking, is your question more in the realm of doing like field tours of different
I'll
facilities?
give you a scenario, I'll give you an example. We have a contractor that we need to meet. We have 3 of us that wanna meet with him.
Oh.
Does it have to be here every time that we have a meeting with the committee, or
It
even a
does,
portion
it
of this
does not,
committee?
but in that event, you would make sure that you did not have a quorum meeting at that same time. Just like here, you have 2 members of our board, if you, not 3, right? Because 3 would be
Okay,
a
yeah.
quorum, yeah,
So those same rules would apply to us.
that's
Yeah.
right.
We could have, if we have a 7-member committee, we could have 3 people meet with an individual.
Yeah, your quorum is proportionate, it's just the majority of your total number.
I'm gonna have to apologize. I had to leave. I have a 8-year-old's birthday dinner I'm supposed to be at, and
All right.
I've gotta go to
Dennis,
church.
thank you.
Me
Can we
too.
set a date for next meeting
You should, yes.
before you leave, Dennis? Do you have any?
My calendar's open.
Okay. Pick one.
Again, what do we want to accomplish at this next meeting?
Well, we're gonna have the minutes of all the things that we've talked about, hopefully, the best we can have it. And then we can make the decision on what the agenda would be. Normally, we don't do a breakdown of what the agenda will be, any committee I've ever been to, but is that the question that you wanted? You wanted to know what we were going to discuss?
Something, if we're going to try to get, I mean, if we get together in 2 weeks, does that give us time to get, what are we going to do in 2 weeks? If we had the meeting in 2 weeks, what would we do? Or if we have it in a month, what do we do? So I'm just trying to figure out a time and an objective of the meeting.
Gotcha.
Well, the staff won't be, you asked the staff to bring you a presentation of concerning the golf course. I don't know when they would be ready to do that. So you might want to ask that, and that might set your meeting time, I don't know.
Yeah. But why don't we pick a time right now so we can get Dennis out of here? And in August, And what is the normal days that we're gonna be here,
You are to determine your own schedule.
but we can't interfere with your meetings and other committee meetings, so I'm
Just avoid, thank you, just avoid the fourth Thursday of each month. And if
okay.
there are any conflicts,
And how many committee do we deal with here? I know we have the Heritage Committee,
right, we have the
Trails.
Shalem Heritage Trails Committee.
Trails.
Pickleball.
And pickleball.
Okay,
yeah.
so they have to meet here as well. That's what
Right.
I'm saying. I don't want to conflict with
Thank
them.
you. The Trails Committee meets on the second Wednesday evening of each month, and the.
Just don't pick any days that end in Y.
And then the pickleball ends, meets on the second Monday of each month. And the board meets on the fourth Thursday. With a Y.
Is there a day of week that's better for committee members?
You might.
Monday's good for me, but I don't know. You mean committee, oh, us, yes.
Us.
Generally, Wednesdays are better for me.
Wednesdays?
Wednesday.
Yeah, but I'm flexible.
Dennis, is
for the group.
Wednesdays good for you?
Typically.
Okay,
Sure.
let's do Wednesdays. So how
Okay.
about the next week,
14th, 21st.
14th?
The 14th is the Trails Advisory Committee, that's the second Wednesday.
I think the staff was saying they need at least a month to prepare to talk with you folks. Just so you know.
Is this meeting going to be a, kind of get down and try to figure out a game plan to where we're gonna go, what we're going to do? You know, we're talking about a lot of semantics.
Yeah.
We're not getting into any real detail.
Well, not yet, but we will. But yes, that's exactly what we're gonna do. Gather information, more
Work
information.
session, I'm calling it a work session.
Okay, that's fine with me. Remember, this is all new to me as well, everybody else. I mean, we're just learning as we go.
How about the 21st of August?
Okay?
That works
That'll
for
be
me.
The day before the board meeting.
I'm open.
Okay.
Okay.
Works for me.
Works for you, Joe? Okay. And so, Dennis,
Mhm.
you got it?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
At 5 PM again,
So do
sorry?
you want to stick with 5?
Works great.
Me
Looks
too.
good for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
Bob, do you want to fill Joe and Tom in real quick, maybe on the start of the meeting before we brought them on the Zoom as to positions?
I don't remember what I'm supposed to say or do.
You're the chair.
Oh,
Just
yeah, the
super
voted in. Okay, yeah, I'm voted as a chair, and Joel?
Jeff.
Jeff.
I'll answer it.
Jeff is secretary, and we don't have anybody else except for Tom Sheridan
is vice
is
chair.
the vice chair.
Got it.
And for that, we're done, I believe, or with that. So we've got the next meeting on the August 21st at 5 o'clock here. And you're gonna put that in all of the,
I'll post that and make that public.
all right,
And
You guys all asked really good questions.
yeah, well,
So,
it's good to not come in blind. And I was gonna come in blind, but I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it.
so clarification, if you would, are you just scheduling a single meeting, or are you deciding that's your recurring schedule is gonna be the fourth Wednesday?
Probably single, right?
Just
Yeah, I
a
think we have to
single.
wait for the other
Yeah.
committee
And
members
then
to.
you'll
Yeah, I
have
think
the
so.
additional.
We ought to.
Gotcha, okay, good.
And can I submit meeting minutes to you, Kat?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
They can't be, they won't be approved until your following meeting, but that's okay. We'll at least
Sure.
have draft minutes.
Sure, okay.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
And you'll be also responsible for creating with the agendas.
So we are adjourned.